I just want to show you guys evidence that Jewish people were not in charge of the temple like immediately after Isus died. All right, so this is I'm talking about the tabernacle, right? Or I'm talking about like the Temple Mount, well, it was the actual temple, Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, the old city of Jerusalem, like the place that David didn't get to build because he had too much blood on his hands. But whatever, I'm sure I got to build it. So remember, like Isus keeps like having things happen like during like certain feasts, like during Passover and the Feast of Booths, and apparently the Feast of Pentecost. Let's just read what it says. After the Passover was Christ, who was sacrificed for us, that as a sheep he was led part. All right, so as in the Passover, the sheep, so in the genuine Passover, Christ is led, and those who hate you railed in the midst of your feast. Therefore, they no longer celebrate with that feast, for they polluted the feast. They polluted the holy things. Should the Jews want to celebrate, they cannot. For it is impossible to celebrate the Passover as prescribed in the Scripture, except in the place considered holy, from which they were cast out. Thus they no longer celebrate it, or the feast of the Pentecost, or the feast of the Booths. But their feasts have been taken away from them and have been given to us, and it has been fulfilled in them what Amos said, your feasts will be turned to mourning, and your songs to a dirge is like a funeral hymn. Like I think it'd be like a song like for a funeral. We then received the feasts differently from how they received them, for we received them figuratively until truth came, and truth would be in Greek, aletheia. When enemies plot against you, let's read the verse. See with me that the adverse powers, which I think would be like about black people, but like at least back then, but it was opposing powers, but I think you can mix it up, are doing what follows. As in a forest wood, they cut its root with axes together. With an adze and a chisel, they smashed it. When the enemies plotted against you, see them outside your doors, holding axes to rational doors and breaking them, so that they may not come toward you, and by entering despoil the strong man of his equipment. As in the gospel, it is written in the form of a certain parable. Whenever a strong man guards his own hall, his possessions are in peace. But if a stronger man should enter, he takes away his armor in which he trusted and divides his spoils. And as in war, the enemies enter and take armor, so when the adverse powers are beating down your doors around the governing faculty, they take your armor so that you may no longer have the breastplate of justice, so that you may no longer be girded with truth, so that you may no longer have the helmet of salvation, or the shoes of the preparation of the gospel, or the sword of the Spirit, or the shield of faith. If you do not want to admit this interpretation, who is the stronger one, who takes the armor in which he trusted and divides his spoils, divides his riches that he has? But it would be like after a war you get riches. What sort of armor does the enemy take when he enters with axes, shattering the doors of our soul? Unless it is the one I have just mentioned. With an adze and a chisel they smashed it. They have the axes, they have the chisels, so that they may overturn every house that we have built. Did I already read that? But like that would definitely be about like black people back then. Everything was about black people, and I think that like the reality is like when you're talking about dead bodies, like I'm always like warning people, because I really did live in Alexandria, and like Alexandria had to be tough. Like they had the Pharaoh's lighthouse. Like they had to be like that well defended, because it was like actually on the coast. Jerusalem didn't have to be as defended. Like Alexandria was like a lot more militaristic, or Alexandria was like a lot like, it was a city state. It feels like to me, a city state is a city that is a state in itself. Like Athens was like, we can talk about Greece all we want. It wasn't Greece. It was a city state. And like when we talk about these places, like they were very, very, very city states. And when like they're describing people as like, how they describe them, he was talking about a squadron, the place where like Isaac had to flee to was called Squadron. Like you don't go there unless you have a squadron. Like you don't go there unless you have like the knights of the freaking round table, like with horses and spears and like lances and crap, because you will get attacked. Like everyone wants to steal from you. The world used to be the Wild Wild West. I don't want to look it up, but yeah, it was called Squadron for a reason. I don't get like working so hard to hide the name of Isus. This isn't even the good translation. I should have the Septuagint one out, but all right, I'm out of here.